Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Miz TV Total Football. And like always, I've got my brother Ishan Bajra in the building, rock and rolling. We've got an interesting topic to talk about. There's a lot that's being said post Man United versus Spurs in the Europa League. Man United, obviously, we all know, lost and they're in a meltdown. We're going to talk about them down the track. But another topic that's circulating around this whole situation at the moment is Ange Postecoglu. Ange
Mm.
Postecoglu, Spurs. We all know what he did. Obviously, won the Europa League trophy for Spurs. Spurs haven't won anything major in a while. It's been 17 years
Mm.
since they last, I believe it's been 17 years since they last won a trophy, which was the Carling Cup. Um, European trophy was years and years and years ago since the last time they won. So this is a huge deal. This is a huge deal for Spurs. This is a huge deal for their ownership. Daniel Levy. How do you pronounce it? Is it Levi? Levy? I always get that kind
Dan
of
Levy.
confused.
Dan Levy.
Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy. Um, I think the ownership is Enoch and Daniel Levy is the chairman. Bottom line, it's very important for them to win this trophy, very important for the team. Obviously, they've had so many big managers, and then eventually it's Ange Postecoglu that's won them the trophy, which is insane. Before we get into the nitty gritty, because the Spurs fans, ladies and gentlemen, want to get rid of, well, not all of the Spurs fans, but I'm seeing large portion of the Spurs fan base wants to get Ange Postecoglu out. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to ask Ishan. Ishan, just the nature of the achievement, first of all. What does this mean for a club like Spurs?
This is massive in my lifetime. Is in my lifetime. This is the first major trophy that I'm seeing Spurs win. To be very
Yeah,
honest, and I'll be
same.
very honest with you. Um, in the subcontinent, of course, I've interacted with many of my friends and all. I have never in my entire life met a Spurs fan. I swear down. Swear down. There's not even banter, okay? I swear down.
Yeah.
Not even a banter. Not even a single Spurs fan. But after watching what they've done, lifting that trophy, there might be some. There might be some which were, all right, Tottenham, top spur? Top spur?
But this is how it starts, right? Like
Yeah,
you need to
that's how it
start
starts.
winning trophies. You need to start building that legacy. Well, they can't really build a legacy as yet because they're going to win more trophies. But this is how you can attract new fans
Right.
by showing that you are serious in trying to win trophies. Do you know what I mean?
Correct, exactly. And I think so. It's a massive victory for Spurs. Massive victory, no two ways about it. Like I told you. Also, not just that, but a statement to Arsenal that they've won
Mm.
a major European competition before Arsenal. And that's such a big thing. Worst Spurs season, probably the
Yeah.
worst that for long, long time, right? And
Mm. Well, they're
even then,
17th. They're literally one position above relegation. I don't think
they
I've ever
should
seen.
be.
I've seen Tottenham low many times before as well, but not as low as that.
Never, never. I don't think, Miss. I'll go ahead and say that I've not seen a Big Six team this low,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
never have I seen two Big Six teams in the
16 and 17.
16, 17
Yeah.
ever, right? So that's something which crazy happened this season. And to be honest, this season has been, a season of surprises, a season of teams that were winning things for first time. Crystal Palace winning, FA Cup for the first time in their history. Spurs winning a trophy after 17 years, long, long years. Newcastle winning, apparently a major trophy
After
in their
after 70 years, I think. Yeah,
70 years of history. Right? That's massive.
yeah,
Liverpool, they had won the Premier League, but that was, during the COVID times. Nobody was there to see it. Now they've won it again, but it's the first
yeah,
time that the Kop and the Liverpool, the
yeah.
Anfield
That's
Stadium is
true.
going to be
That's true.
filled.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the fans cheering for with the team winning the PL. Um, you never know. I don't know what happens in this conference league. You were gonna still have another team probably lifting it for the first time, right? In
Bro,
the
well, we'll be the first one, hopefully. Do you know what I mean? Not Real Betis.
and this is there are surprises happening this year. Apparently, just to go a bit off track, you might say RCB win IPL for the first time in history. You never know. You know, things
Don't
are
know, bro.
happening this year. So, but yeah, again, I would say a massive achievement for Ange Postecoglu. I don't think so. The place that he is in the Premier League table justifies his work rate. I think so. He's much better than that, and probably this trophy would give him some boost there. Again, I understand the fact that some Tottenham fans are wanting him out. Probably, if I was one of them, I would have also wanted him out. To be very honest, because
Mm.
finishing 17th with 21 losses is not acceptable, even if it's a first season. Uh, but again, giving this club a trophy, I think so wipes away all the tears, isn't it?
Let's talk about this. So, this is the topic, ladies and gentlemen, right? Should Ange Postecoglu get sacked? As I said initially, there is a large contingency of Spurs fans that actually want him gone. Now, Ishan, let's park, and I know this is a big parking job. Let's
Yeah.
park the Europa League winning trophy on the side for a second. And I get it. It's a big one. It's huge. As you said, it should that trophy for Spurs, especially, and catapulting them to Champions League should be able to wipe every other issues down, right? But let's park that for a second.
Right.
They finish seventh. Well, looks like they're going to finish 17th unless they win in the final day and Man United lose and they can leapfrog. I don't think they can leave. Well, they can even leapfrog West Ham maybe if and Wolves if they have a loss. But look, more or less, it seems like they're going to finish around 17th because don't know what all the others are going to do.
Hmm.
And as you said, 21 losses. I'm looking at the stats right now. 21 is it 21? Yeah, 21 losses. 21
Yeah.
losses and 5 draws as well.
Yeah.
38 points. They're going into the final day with only 38 points. They've not even hit 40. Ishan,
Yeah.
just on that basis, and we have seen the madness Ange Postecoglu has done with some of their fans as well, all throughout this season. Ange Postecoglu has had fights here and there with fans, Spurs fans. He's
Yes.
talking back to them. He's
Hmm.
being very annoyed with them. They're also obviously abusing him. A human being can only take that much. Like, if you're going to keep abusing me, obviously I'm going to reply back. But do you think that in itself is sackable in the Premier League?
Miz, I think so. He's totally lost it when it comes to the Premier League. I think so.
Mm.
I think so. He's given up from inside, at least this season. If he gets a time for the next season, if he gets a transfer, this summer transfer window, and if it happens to be big, which I expect to be, since they've won the Europa League and they've qualified for the Champions League,
Yeah.
then it's going to be interesting to see what Ange does next. But currently, it seems like I almost thought that he's lost the fans, he's lost the dressing room as well. He's just
Mm.
on the verge of getting sacked, but he's just got one game to prove, which was the Europa League
Which was the
finals,
Europa League. Yeah.
and he delivered. You know, don't get me wrong. I cannot come out and say that this was like the best games of our lifetime. This was one of
Yeah.
the tactical geniuses because United has been trash, and they've played trash in the
Well,
final
it
as
was
well.
16th versus 17th. It looked like
Right.
it was 16th versus 17th. It wasn't the greatest spectacle. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, right? So even kudos to the trophy, they've got it, after
Yeah.
17 years and whatever that thing is. But when it comes down to performance and giving a fan base the confidence in a longevity, I don't think so. Ange has proved that. You know what I mean? But if you'd ask me that, it's such an interesting saga, isn't it? Currently, that do you keep him rather or not? Because then the question mark would be right. If you end up keeping him, the question mark would be, don't you um, don't you not rate Premier League? Don't you not rate the performance of Premier League, right? And if you sack him, it'll be like, all right, you probably rate the Premier League performances, but didn't you acknowledge the fact that he won you a trophy after 17 years?
And this is the conundrum. This is the issue that
Yeah.
it's such a finely balanced situation. What you just said, right? Look, Premier League, Ishan, we know it. And I know I have a different view about Amrim as well. And look, I've also got a different view about Ange Postecoglu, but I want to explore everything. Premier League is all about results. We know that.
Yes.
Look at all the recent managers we've had, and we've said result. You got to bring result. The team is not that bad. You got to be able to bring result. Ange Postecoglu, I know he's had a lot of adversities this season, Ishan. I think we
Yeah.
can't deny that. There's a
Correct.
lot of his players that have been injured, key players, Romero, Van der Ven,
Yeah.
Odogi has been injured as well along the way. Solanke has been injured as well. And at one stage, a lot of these players have been injured together. So he's had to patch up and continue on. And it's been very difficult. But that's when you get paid to show
Yeah.
resilience. That's why you've been brought to a club, still Big Six club, right? They're deemed as a Big Six club
Correct.
to maintain a certain level.
Hmm.
17th is beyond any level. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Right.
then when you start having that warfare with the fans, this is where sometimes Ange Postecoglou, you just need to know how to shut your mouth a little bit, Ange. Like
Right.
when okay, fine, I know it's difficult. You're getting abused. You want to retaliate. You want to say something back to the people. Hey, shut up. You can't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
But maybe that's when you got to be like, let me keep it low. Let me just stay low a little bit and let's weather the storm. Because ultimately, Ange Postecoglou, he speaks well. He does speak well. But I feel sometimes he speaks too much and then
Right.
gets himself into a bit of a trouble. Do you think, Ishan, that as you asked me the question, now that they're a large portion of their fan base, and there are still quite a lot that still wants to give him an opportunity because obviously he's won the trophy, but do you think that disconnect, is it worth taking the risk next season knowing that Ange Postecoglou, thank you so much for bringing us Champions League, but I'm scared about you. I'm scared that next season, I don't want to give thank you for gifting us this, but I'm scared you're going to screw everything up next season. Like,
Yes.
what do you do? Because if the fans have this toxic feeling towards him, bro,
Hmm.
that Champions League campaign could just go south
Correct.
massively. And then they could be in this position in the Premier League again where they're not winning at all. And then you're in a
Exactly.
relegation struggle all of a sudden.
Exactly. Such a brilliant situation that we football fans are in. Not just Spurs, but also for all the football fans.
Mm.
Because just like you said, Ange Postecoglu has catapulted Spurs from 17th position to a Champions League place
Champions
next
League.
season, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna next season in Champions
Ishan,
League.
it's like
They're
one of
gonna,
those, in Monopoly, get out of
yeah,
jail free. Or no. Go past jail, collect 200 as well. One of those ones in Monopoly.
yeah, sure. So I mean, such a brilliant situation. But now again, the main question that you asked is, what happens to these guys in the next year in Champions League, right? Uh, and if there's a risk because you've proven me in the Europa competitions. Thank you so much. 17 a trophy after 17 years. Thank you so much for that. But we're still gonna have to play 38 games of Premier League next season, which this season you lost us 21. How many next season, man?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So Champions
L-
League miss.
Mind you, though, Ishan, just quickly,
Yeah.
mind you, last season he finished fifth, though. Ange Postecoglou last season finished fifth with 66 points because we were trying to chase him. We finished
Right.
sixth with
Right.
63. So he's kind of shown that he has the capacity, but then
Yeah.
this season has been a disaster.
Because the massive drop takes out all the confidence. It doesn't matter. Means forget
Mm.
about him finishing fifth. Yeah, we're coming and sitting here and talking about him being in charge or not, even after him winning the Europa League. Isn't that in itself a mad question?
It
Right?
is. It is.
So him finishing 17th with 21 losses is so heavy that winning a Europa League is getting a bit overshadowed. Do you know what I mean? And
Mm,
that's where the question is. Now again, Miz, think about this. If Spurs were playing a Conference League or a Europa League next season, right? I would still say
mm,
that okay, they have a chance because every time Spurs enters at least these two minors of competition, we expect them to be one of the favorites, at least one of the favorites, right?
yeah.
Now you are entering the Champions League. There's no way I can say Spurs your favorite. No chance, right? No chance. So I would happily
Bro,
write
teams
Spurs
like
off.
PSG were 24th, 25th, and they needed the last game of that league to bump into the top 25. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right,
Champions
exactly.
League's difficult.
It's difficult, man. So forget about me. Even the Spurs fans themselves might have written that competition off from the next year. They might just be like, all right, we got the Champions League, get us good signings. That's what we want out of that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Get me some good pull from the market. Let us go in the Champions League. Let's give us our give our best there. Whatever happens, happens. But we need a good finish in the Premier League. We cannot have another shamble for season again,
Yeah.
right? So the question
They'd
is,
want to finish in
does
European positions. They'd want to finish in the European positions again. Yeah.
at least give me a top eight, right? From
Yeah.
a Spurs fan perspective. And then you can maybe aspire of winning a domestic cup or something like that. That would be
Yeah.
a good thought as well. But again, the drop has been so massive that a question mark comes that if I give Ange the next season, surely he's not gonna the Champions League is written off completely. What do we have? Is it worth taking a risk for Spurs to again go with Ange so that if he finish outside 10 again, finish, tata, bye bye, no hope, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's a risk, and probably the Spurs fans who think that Ange Postecoglu should be gone, I think so, I resonate with them. But again, I wouldn't mind Ange giving another season as well. Probably I'll give him small milestones, right? Probably I'll see it through it the first 10 Premier League games. Probably give me a 6 win, right, or seven win, or some points. Then probably assess him.
And this is where, remember how we parked the trophy?
Yeah.
We're going to now bring the trophy back. And
Yeah.
now we flip this conversation. And before we flip it, look, Ange Postecoglu, he plays an exciting brand of football. No doubts about that. They want to play full attacking, full, energy, press, this, that. Obviously, they didn't do that in the Europa League final. They actually changed it up a little bit because a lot of their key players like Madison, Kulusevski, Son was in the bench, were unavailable. So they changed it up, and this is where Ange Postecoglu adapted. And this is something I think Ange Postecoglu hasn't done in the Premier League. He hasn't adapted. He's always played this high line. You remember against us, against Chelsea, with 10 men. He was still playing a high line and just allowing us to go behind and just keep scoring. And I think they got another yellow card with 9 men as well. They were doing the same
9 men.
nonsense. He
Yes.
he just doesn't want to adapt. And this is something I get it as Spurs fans, like why they want him gone is there's a big question mark. Like, are you going to adapt? Because in the Premier League, there are certain games you're gonna have to adapt. If you don't adapt, oppositions, Premier League is mad. Every
Crazy.
team in the Premier League is unbelievable. This is why there's no other leagues out there like this. No other league. So I get the confusion that Spurs fans have because is this man going to adapt? Because if he doesn't, he's probably going to find himself in the same mess again. Now, let's bring the trophy that we parked. Let's bring it back. Ishan, it will be so ruthless. And I don't know if Spurs have that mentality of ruthlessness. Well,
Yeah.
then again, they sacked Jose Mourinho just before the Carabao Cup final,
The
so that's
final.
pretty
Yeah.
ruthless. Even though I think they should have given him the opportunity to lead the final, and maybe he would have won the final.
Correct. Correct.
Now, it would be so ruthless and also, I don't know, somewhat heartless as well. You're sacking the man that has given you a major trophy. you
7.
were the banter club. To a certain level, you're still the banter club, like,
Yeah.
because you need to now build on this trophy, right? But at least you can now have a little bit of a arrogance, a little bit of a
Yeah.
say that, hey, we just won the Europa League, all right? Just
y-
come, sit down. We're
Yeah.
in the Champions League. Especially to Arsenal fans. They can definitely say that to the Arsenal. Like, you've not won anything European. What are
Correct.
you chatting about? What are you chatting about? I've won something. And you're in the Champions League, the same competition I'm in as well. Like, and I'm 16, I'm 17. So it to sack this guy who's given them this much joy and the fan base this much joy, that would be extremely heartless, man. Like, and Ange Postecoglu, after what he said very long ago in the season, I think midway through the season, he said, "Let me correct myself. I don't usually. It's not that I don't usually. I always win in the second season.
Yeah.
So I don't usually win in the. Let me correct myself. I always
We
win in the second
always
season."
wins. Yeah. That was cool.
And he's done it. And
Yeah.
he's done it. And that's like boss man gangster level stuff, right?
Right. Right.
Would it be fair to getting like after he's given you this much joy and it's a big trophy, would it be fair to get rid of him?
No, from Spurs perspective, no, because this you did not see Hyun-Min Son's underarms for 17 years, right? This man has helped you do that, irrespective of whatever the season you had. You have lifted. You are lifting a European major title, right?
Yeah,
Uh, from my perspective, I think so. Daniel Levy will give him this
I
trophy.
think so. I think so.
I
Yeah.
think so because um, if he was to sack Miz, please don't get me wrong, Jose Mourinho was sacked before the final. That was mid-season, right? So that means
Yeah.
the
Carabao
results
Cup
and the
is what, March, I think, right? Carabao
right
Cup?
Feb March or
Yeah.
whatever that phase is. So sacking someone like a Jose Mourinho before a cup final, and he's not just an ordinary manager, he's Jose Mourinho,
Yeah.
FYI, right? Sacking him before a cup final, that means things were gone down drastically. But Jose did not finish as bad as Ange did in the Premier League, right? Now, if
No.
things were so bad that Ange could have probably got sacked way before even the semi-final bouts were started in the Europa League, because they were like going down, down, down in the second page of the Premier League, 15, 16, 17. Now they're lurking around 17th. So if he was to have been sacked, he could have been sacked before the finals as well, because nobody had the confidence Spurs would were going and going ahead to win the entire competition. Nobody had that
Mm.
confidence. So if Ange was to be sacked, he would have been sacked long ago. But now, since he's been kept, he's been given the confidence, and he's won the trophy. I think so. It wouldn't be a bad thing for the owners or a bad decision to keep him for the next year, just for this one statement that you made, that they've gone ahead and won a major European trophy which they hadn't won in past 17 years, and their
Mm.
straightforward rival Arsenal probably had an equivalent season in terms of output, right? What
Yeah.
happens next season? You play the Champions League, we play the Champions League. Last season, we have a major European trophy. Do you have that? No. Right? So it's a success for them. So at the end of the day, I would say that it wouldn't be a bad decision for Spurs to keep Ange, and I think so. They're going to keep him at least for one season. But this season is going to. I don't think so. Spurs um, is going to let Ange go so low in the Premier League. This
Mm.
season is going to be a bit uh, scary in terms of the results. If he goes lurks somewhere around 10th, 11th, he's getting the sack, I guess.
Yeah, look, I agree with that, man. Look, it. I think Spurs hierarchy, Daniel Levy, and their ownership and whatnot. As you said, if they really wanted to get rid of him, they could have got rid of him a long time ago this season because their
Right.
season was just looking very, very worrisome. But they stuck by him, and it makes me think they stuck by him because of that Europa League final, and he's
Correct.
delivered the trophy. So now they'll probably reward him that, yeah, you carry on. And I feel like, you know what, Ishan, just looking at the flip side, or the other side of the coin. I know this is a different channel, but the other side of the coin here is that Spurs, if they really do I guess the question is, what is the ambition? What do they want to do? What is your ambition? Because to think that you're just going to sack a manager and bring someone else in, and that manager is going to kick on and give you glory, I don't know. Ange Postecoglu has now had one season where he's finished fifth, and another season where he's won a trophy, a pretty major European trophy, you'd say. Obviously, after Champions League is the bit, and then there's a lot of history in Europa League, man. There is a lot of history in Europa League, right? So one season he's finished fifth, one season he's given you a big trophy. If you were to scrap all of this and bring a new manager, what is your ambition? What are you trying to say to the new manager? What do you want to do? Are you all of a sudden you're asking to compete in the Premier League title? Or are you asking to maybe be at least a top 6 side? Well, Ange Postecoglu has shown he can be in the top 6. He finished fifth in the first season. Are you wanting to get a manager to win you a trophy? Well, Ange Postecoglu has won you a trophy.
Yeah.
So I feel this manager, and I don't know, I know one thing's for certain. I think he's kind of fallen out with the fan base a little bit. That's the biggest issue. Not a little bit, quite a lot. But I'm not really sure whether he's fallen out with the players. I don't know if he's completely fallen out with the players. There might be some players that might not fancy him, but I think a lot of players do like him. Like, for example, Son likes him. I think a lot of the experienced players like him. And I think some of the youngsters like him as well. But obviously, like every other squad, there'll be some players that don't like the manager. That's with every team, right? But I've not seen massive stories where he's fallen out with the group. Do you think, Ishan, this winning the trophy could just catapult a belief in the existing players that they have? And I know some of the players will leave in the summer, but a lot of them will stay. And also the new ones that are going to come, they're not going to look at Spurs like, oh, you don't win anything. They're going to start, oh, well, you've won a European League. You're in the Champions League. Looks like you want to compete for more silverware down the track.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be wrong to let go of Ange, who's kind of gone through the highs and lows with this team and could potentially have a more sustainable season next season, as opposed to now, let's just try someone brand new? And the question mark is, what do you want? What's your ambition? Do you know what I mean?
So that's such a brilliant question, because if you sack him, now I've got 2 points here to make, right? Point number one, if you sack him, the new players coming in, right? Or they had a lot of injuries last season. When these players come back to the squad with a full-fledged fit squad, right? And now they come back to the squad, or the new players coming in, they would come and see that Ange is gone, Ange is no more. There's some new manager who comes in. What is the guarantee? You guys have won first trophy in your 17 years. And the man who's won you this trophy, you've sacked him. So what ambition do you have? What is the guarantee that the new man coming in is going to give you that equivalent glory, or at least take you to better heights?
Yeah.
There is no guarantee, right? So keeping Ange in the vicinity of the club, irrespective of what's happened in the last season, I think so that can be wiped off with the likes of the trophy that they've won. At least they'll have that confidence that this man has led us to a silverware after so long, so we can trust him at least for the time being. Last season, another which takes me to my point two. Last season there were a lot of injuries. He was in a lot of distress as well, fan base going against him, this, that, and the other. This season, all the players are going to come back with a fresh perspective of them being Europa League champions, and then they're going to have a different set of motivation to play. I surely believe that this is going to help them perform better in the Premier League. Champions League, probably not that much, because we know the levels, right? Unless they do some madness in the upcoming summer transfer window.
And Ishan, just quickly, don't forget, they're now guaranteed to play in the Super Cup. That's another pretty special cup that Ange Postecoglu could potentially play against PSG or Inter Milan. Spurs versus PSG or Inter Milan, bro.
Wow, that's crazy. What
I'm
have you
sure they
reminded
probably
me?
wouldn't want.
I forgot
I'm
about
sure they
that.
wouldn't want a new manager to do that. They'd probably want Ange to carry on again and see if
Correct.
you can beat either PSG or Inter Milan, which I don't think they can. But crazy things have happened in football. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, look, Spurs and Daniel Levy is a crazy, crazy man, and Spurs is a crazy club, right? You never know what's going to happen. If they can sack Jose Mourinho before a cup final, anything can happen. But just taking that as a reference, I don't think so. He's going to get sacked just by virtue of him winning this trophy this season. Next season, um, they're going to continue. Like you said, they've got Super Cup to play, uh, and he's going to go ahead in the Premier League with some boost in the squad with the likes of transfer window coming in. He's going to have few players in, and with the Champions League qualification, they're going to have some good pull, if not that much, but at least they're going to have some comparatively. And of course, they're going to aim for the cups as well. The cups is always there. So from my perspective, if uh, again, like I told you, reiterating, but yeah, there were plenty of chances in this season where Ange could have been sacked. Straight
Mhm.
away, he could have been sacked. But if Daniel Levy decided to keep going on with this guy, then probably there was just one objective for him, right? Which was to win the Europa League. He did it, objective ticked. He's not going to get sacked. Simple as that.
Mm.
If he wouldn't have won, probably he would have been sacked in the tunnel um, that night as well. But
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
so,
If Spurs had lost, I think the very next day we would have heard Ange Postecoglu has parted ways with with
yeah.
Spurs. Well, maybe he would have got the last game of the season, and then after that he would have parted ways.
Yeah, so
But
because
yeah,
Miss, there's no motivation, no. What do you think would have been the thought process of keeping Ange Postecoglou till the end of the season, even despite having 21 losses, which we have never seen, by the way, Spurs go through? It's just that one thing. Ange might have given the clause that, all right, I win things in the second season. I actually win things in the second season. Give me this shot until the Europa League final. I'll show you what I have, and then he eventually won it. That's it.
yeah,
I don't think so. He's gonna get sacked. But next
you're
season, Maze,
right.
it's going to be very interesting, right? We'll have to see how Spurs perform. Number one. Before that, we'll have to see how the Spurs perform in the summer transfer window, and
Summer
then
transfer window.
all the players coming in. If Ange stays, probably he's going to stay as well. How does he start the Premier League campaign? If he starts in a high, he's going to get more games. If not, probably it's going to get a. There has to be a decision, because think about this, Miz. If you For me, I'm just writing them off from the Champions League campaign, right? They're not going to win it,
Mm.
so that takes them out of that Champions League. Cups, it's very, very difficult, right? You never know what's going to happen there, so it's very
Yeah,
you cannot predict, right? Premier League, if they do not perform, they will be nowhere, just like what Man United happened this season around. They're going to be like them, so probably they're going to not take that chance and take some action next season.
I agree with you, man. Next season will not just be a free hit. I
Yeah.
think there will be checkpoints that look. This season was a different scenario. We stuck by you because you kept on going in the Europa League. But
Yeah.
next season, if they start seeing any level of disturbance within the first 10 games, I think they'll make a decision. I think they'll be like, you know what?
Yes.
We're not going to allow for another season to go down the drain like this.
Correct.
And if they can rectify something by bringing in a manager, then they'll do that. So yeah, I fully agree. It's just I think Spurs. Sometimes I look at some of these Spurs fans that want a new manager in. I'm like, what do you expect? You expect someone to do much better than Ange?
Yeah.
As I said, Ange Postecoglu has shown you he can finish in the top six. Ange
Right.
Postecoglu has shown you he can win a trophy.
Right.
Yes, obviously he's also shown you he can finish 16th or
Seventh
17th.
with
So
21
he's
losses in the
shown you
season. Yeah.
everything. He's shown you some good, some really good, and some absolute pathetic. So he's shown you everything. You bringing in another manager, and the latest name that's most of these Spurs fans they want to talk about is the Bournemouth manager, Iraola, however you pronounce his name, or even Thomas Frank from Brentford.
Yeah.
I don't know whether these guys it just comes in and just I don't know. I don't know. Like, is it just top six, or are you looking to compete for the Premier? If it's top six, as I said, Ange can do that.
Yeah.
Like, you're bringing in a new manager to do what?
Right.
Like, this is where sometimes I don't understand the mentality of the Spurs fan base. Like we bring in a new. I know this is not what's been happening with Chelsea lately, obviously under the new ownership, but how it used to be under Roman. We bringing a new manager for what? Why did
To
we
win
bring a
titles.
new manager?
To
To
win
win
titles.
titles. To win titles.
Simple.
Simple as that. You were brought in to win titles. You can't win titles?
Get out.
Get
Yeah.
out. Get out. So Spurs, if you say we're bringing in Iraola to win titles, excuse me? I mean, he's a good manager, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But to win titles, you need to calm down. Well, we're bringing in Thomas Frank from Brentford to win titles. Excuse me? So then the conversation becomes, okay, so you're not bringing a new manager to win titles.
Yeah.
Well, then just keep Ange Postecoglu.
Correct.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Or is this is where the Spurs fans they don't want to and all the Spurs fans that are watching, please comment. I want to hear what you guys are. What is it that you want? What is it that you want? Because
Yeah, you need to decide, right? Is it the top four your highest priority? Is it the trophy your highest priority? Or probably just qualifying in the Europa stages or the Conference League matches is your priority? What is your priority? There are some fan base, very surprisingly in the social media I've seen is saying that we have won first trophy in 17 years. Build Ange a statue, right? And make him inaugurate that, right? And when he cuts that ribbon, make him cut his contract as well.
oh my god.
Lovely.
Such Jutiapa. yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So I mean, the fan base needs to have clear aspirations of what do you want. But I think so, Miz. You know what? The fan base who think that he should be sacked are the ones who prefer a top four or a top five finish more than what
More sustainable. Like I don't know whether trophy is that aspirational. I think they're more sustainable. Always some European football is required.
Yeah.
Whether you win a trophy or not, it's up, it's up for grabs. But they want sustain. They don't want what Ange did in the first season, 6th or 5th, and then 17th. I think this is what's and we're gonna slowly wrap things up, right, Ishan? I think what has really ruined it for Ange Postecoglu is obviously being that low. I think even if he was 8th, let's say,
Correct.
7th,
Correct.
8th, maybe they could have stuck
even
by.
top 10, even top 10, 7, 8, 9, people wouldn't have been that mad.
Yeah.
Comparatively to what it is with 17th.
The fact he's finished 17th. And
yes,
I think Ange Postecoglu has really got to work on his relationship with the fan base as well. I think too many times this season he's had a go at the fan base where, Ishan, the fans are going to abuse at times. They will.
Yeah.
But if you retaliate every time,
yeah,
you're going to find yourself in a big mess.
Miss, just imagine,
you know what I mean?
you're me and you are a fan of a club who has the habit of winning titles, right? Not Spurs, by the way, but they have a habit of probably finishing around 4th, 5th, or in the area of that, right? Having 21 losses in a league campaign is gonna you're gonna lose it, right, as a fan base.
Bro, you're gonna be mental.
You
You know what
gotta
I
be
mean? Like
mental,
Atamati
right?
Satakli, you know what I mean?
Right. So I think so that has crushed the fan base. They're like, I don't want to see this guy anymore, irrespective of what happens. And even before the finals, I think so. Seen a lot of fan base say that, irrespective of what the this is, by virtue of what he's playing and where he's finished with the losses that he's made, that is unacceptable. So maybe it's more than that. I mean, the losses and the way he's performed throughout the season. Okay, knowing the fact that there has been injuries and all sort of hiccups or speed breakers throughout the season, but finishing 17th for a team who has the habit of finishing around 5th, 6th, 7th is not acceptable by any means. So that's where the fan base is like, get him out.
I think this is exactly what has happened, and this is where Ange Postecoglu, he should have adapted. Like as you said, there were some speed breaks. Obviously, there's some big humps along the way where it really affected the team. But good managers know how to adapt. But this is where Ange Postecoglu, he keeps on saying, "I'm never going to change. It's my way or highway." And we've seen that against us when he's played against us. 9 man, 10 man, whatever, 10 man, 9 man. He still kept on playing this high line. Like, are you
Right.
out of your mind, bro? Are you actually out of your mind playing this high line? But that's the thing, and this will be the interesting part to see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll wrap things up here. Will he be able to adapt next season?
Right.
Now he's been in the Premier League for 2 seasons. Now he's won a trophy as well for Spurs. 17 years trophy drought. Spurs don't win anything. They're bottlers. Well, they've won something. Now, is he going to change a little bit? Not completely change his whole philosophy, but where and when it needs to be changed.
Right.
If you go through, because no team goes through the entire season without any injuries. He will have injuries next season as well.
Right.
And he may have injuries to important players. What do you do then to adapt? What do you do then to adapt? I think that's the most important part. Big up to each and every one of you guys that is tuned in, and comment, please. Let us know what you thought about this topic. Should Ange Postecoglu be sacked, in your personal opinion? Thank you so much, Ishan, for your time. Appreciate that. Each and every one of you guys, smash up the like button, and we shall see you very, very soon for another piece of interesting topic down the track. Until then, everyone, take care. See ya.